will praise your name. I will praise your name. When times of need carry on, I will praise your name. I will praise your name. Though darkness falls all around, I will praise your name. I will praise your name. If I forget what I found, I will praise your name. I will praise your name. For you are faithful, Lord, you lift my head. You're my provider. You're my strength and joy. I'll trust you, Lord. I'll worship you. I love you, Lord. I'll honor you. Lord, I will lift up my soul. I will praise your name. I will praise your name. If I feel lost and alone, I will praise your name. I will praise your name. Though I may labor in vain, I will praise your name. I will praise your name. Through all the heartache and pain, I will praise your name. I will praise your name. For you are faithful, Lord, you lift my head. You're my provider. You're my strength and joy. I'll trust you, Lord. I'll worship you. I love you, Lord. I'll honor. I will trust you, Lord. I'll trust you, Lord. I'll worship everything I say. I love you, Lord. I'll honor you. I'll trust, never let me go. I'll worship, never let me down. I'll love, forever I will love you. I'll love, I'll trust every hour, every day. I'll worship, that's why I worship you. I'll love, I will praise you, Lord. I'll honor you. Lord, I will lift up my song. I will praise your name. I will praise your name.
Hallelujah. Let Lord Jesus Christ shine forth. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us. Welcome to another live stream with DCCI Ministries. And tonight we will be talking about Muhammad, peace, police and FBI be upon him, his marriage with Khadija. And it should be disturbingly fun for us. I don't know how it will come across for Mrs. and Mr. Muslims. And I do have Daughter of Christ on the line to help us with that. Peace of Christ be with you, beloved. How are you?
And with you, sister. How are you? I hope you're well, and everyone here.
I am well, enjoying God, and I don't know if everyone is well. How is everyone? Let's check. Um, Thank you very much for being with us tonight, and I can see everyone is alive. If you were dead, you wouldn't be here anyway. That was no good comment. No good.
It's good to be here, being with the Lord here or in the other when we go to Him.
Yeah. Today and that day, we've got two things in our diary. And yes, and we have Joy Apologetics in the chat. I just wanted to point everyone out. This is like moment of embarrassment. Has anyone noticed Joy has different logo now? This looks
Mhm.
very orange.
Very bright. It's like mine, it's bright as well. God bless you, brother
Maybe
Jai.
he took that color and then they put it and then they made it Joy and then they put the cross there. They stole your logo as an idea. I'm just joking. Beautiful logo.
So,
Thanks for being with
I'm
us,
told,
Joy.
I'm told by my brother Jai that Jai stands for Jesus is always intercede.
Indices. Yeah.
So
When
yeah.
when we feel we've done something so horrible we cannot turn to Him, when we feel life is out of control, we might find ways in somewhere else. We have crucified and risen Lord. He always intercedes for us. That is great comfort we take from our scripture. And I also noticed Brother Hussein is in the chat as well. And lots of other people are in the chat. So now it's not good to pick the names because people might
Mm.
say, why didn't you pick my name? You never
God,
know.
God bless you, brother Mashni. He acted as your fake husband sister when you were
I
getting beat.
know. I remember he beat Aisha. No good. No good.
He was very scary. Good acting skills, brother. Hopefully, one we can do more with him, acting skits with him.
Yeah, I think we did discuss that we might have a couple of more Aishas, and I think his house is already a little bit tidier than before, so it should be better. It should be better.
Well,
Um,
Aisha deserved to be beaten then because she didn't tidy the house properly. That's why it was untidy. She was not a good
no,
wife.
that was pre-Aisha. We had a chat to talk about it, and in that chat, I noticed he had lots of things on the fridge. Usually, no one puts those things on the fridge, and then he was like, not in the fridge, it was like top of the fridge. It was
People
not
do,
good.
sister. People put all kinds of things on top of the fridge, and then they stay there, they forget them, and they stay there a long time gathering dust. You don't know?
No, sister. No,
Oh, sister,
no.
you're
There
too
are
tidy.
certain yes and certain no's. That's one of no. Anyway, so what are we talking about? So we titled the live stream as kind of idea of love at first sight, but this is
Mhm.
love at first wine. So
Oh.
hope people kind of will pick up what we meant to say. If you didn't come to anything about it anyway, so it's already there. Beloved, what are we discussing?
So, sister, I love to hear like love stories and marriage stories. They like I'm a romantic. They tug at my heart, and people say, "Oh, we married on that day." And I recently was in a wedding, a guest of a brother and sister, and I was so touched by their love. I love a good story of marriage, but s- Muhammad's story, how he got married, is the most disturbing and silly stories ever. It's like he does everything the worst, even the marriage.
So you don't think like he will end up in movies? His
It's,
marriage end up in the movies?
it's the most unromantic, disturbing movie ever. And he was only 25, sister. He was young. It was his first wife. You think it would be love
Sister,
and
sister, sister. 27, 25 is very old in 7th century. Aisha was only 9. Everyone says she was very old. So 25 is like new. Today's 25, probably 7th century, like 85 or 83 or something.
Well, Khadija was 40.
Well, when it comes to women, they stay like that.
Amazing, sister. So
It is.
Muslims are really proud of this one because she's older than him. So they thought, oh, he wasn't into the lust. She was noble. He was noble.
It was all about money, sister.
She was very rich, and he was an orphan with nothing. So we all know what that is about. But anyway,
Yes. So what we are going to talk about tonight is simply how Mohammed and Khadija got married. Their marriage didn't go very far because someone along the way died, and then he was actually for the first wife. He was faithful husband, but the moment she died, lots of wives end up in the circle. Lots of slaves end up in his circle, and sadly, is like Khadija identified as pre-Islam. So the freedom Khadija had, none of Muhammad's wives were able to have that freedom, as well as Islam doesn't give any right to the woman to have the freedom which Muhammad's first wife had. So all that like prison life or control life comes soon after Khadija. Muhammad kind of just enjoys that. So I'm just gonna do a couple of things in here.
you see how much girl power Khadija had to make things happen, sister.
Girl power or money power?
Well, I don't
Money
know what to
buys lots of things,
I don't know what to call it.
or wine.
It just seemed like she's very like for a woman to be controlling things in that way. She's older than him, making things happen.
Sister, you weren't there. We don't know.
Well, very romantic. But anyway,
Uh, Anyway,
all
let's
he
just
had to do, all Muhammad had to do was to turn up. She did
see.
everything else.
Anyway, so we are going to look at how
Right.
that marriage proposal take place. Okay, you might be thinking like probably it was by the sea under the full moon, those kind of things, but it's a little bit different than that. So we will be just kind of looking at Tabari as well as some of the Islamic sources to figure out how did they got married. Because we know how did he got married with Aisha. We want to see how it was before Aisha, pre-Islam. Let me find the slides and then we go with the references so everyone sees what we are talking about. Sources will be on the screen, Arabic and English for us to see.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. So Daughter of Christ translated them. If
Mhm.
anyone has any kind of problem with the translation, please jump in and we will stand corrected. But so far, no one was brave enough to do any changings on the translations. Those things are not personal, but I think we already confirmed that you even kind of do better job than better job from sheikhs.
Well, if a sheikh is born in a different country and he can't even pronounce his own Quran, then of course I'll do better.
That's the beauty of woman.
So this is Sister from Majma' al-Zawaid, which is a hadith book uh, by Musnad. The narrator is Ibn Abbas. The transmitting narrator is Al-Haythami.
Actually, just a second. We are sharing screen. Remember last time we were sharing screen, people weren't able to hear. Can I just get a confirmation that while you are seeing this screen, you are also able to hear us? Let's first check that, sister.
Okay, I'll just wait to
Okay,
see
yeah.
on.
If you confirm that you are able to hear us right now, if we don't hear anything from you within 20 seconds, we will be assuming, what should we assume? We can assume they hear us.
Okay,
They're
we'll have to
just
do some
choosing the
prayer.
not to respond. Okay, they can hear us. Thank you,
Okay,
Jack.
that's
Thank you,
good. Okay,
Chloe.
thank you.
Yes, let's start from the beginning, sister. Sorry about that.
Okay, so the hadith goes like this. It says, the Messenger of Allah mentioned Khadija, and her father did not want to marry him to her. So she made food and drink and invited her father and people from Quraysh. So they ate and drank until they were drunk. Until they were drunk. So Khadija said, Muhammad ibn Abdullah is proposing to me, so marry me to him. So he, her father, married her to him. So she perfumed her father and clothed him with a garment, as they used to do with the fathers. So when his drunkenness left him, he looked and found himself perfumed and clothed in a garment. So he said, what is this? What is with me? She said, you married me to Muhammad ibn Abdullah. So he said, I married you to the orphan of Abi Talib? No, not on my life. Khadija said, are you not ashamed? You want to make a fool of yourself before Quraysh to tell people that you were drunk? So she persisted with him until he agreed. This is narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas, and the Muhaddith is Al-Haythami in Majma' Zawaid, volume 9, page 223. And the ruling on the hadith that it is authentic, as the men who transmitted it are transmitters of authentic hadiths.
Yeah. So, Islamic tradition, like Muslims would tell us from the certain Islamic tradition that while Muhammad was 25 years old, Khadija was 40 years old. Khadija was rich and wealthy businesswoman. He would hire people to work for him, for her, and Muhammad was one of them. So he hired Muhammad to work with him as well. And along the way, she was told that Muhammad is like very trustworthy, and she proposed him, and they married. So that's like
Yeah.
overall kind of Muslim from, we will hear similar thing from Muslims. Now in here what we have is there is something between Khadija and Muhammad. Khadija's father objects to marriage. So it's
Mhm.
important that you get your father's blessing. In this occasion, there is no father's blessing. What is the solution? Woman comes with the solution. Let's have a party. Make them to drink alcohol. And then they drink and then they get drunk. And then when kind of their hangover is over, he finds out his daughter married the guy who he didn't approve, and he says, not in my lifetime. And then can't do anything about it because Khadija says, well, this is what we told. If we tell no, you didn't marry me, what we are going to do now?
Wow, sister. Just wow.
So,
The top.
beloved, don't be jealous of the deceptions are going here, okay? In 7th century, those things were very normal.
The amount of power that women had before Islam is just incredible.
Yeah. Compare that with
People
Aisha.
have lots of questions, sister.
Go on, sister.
They asked, what does it mean she perfumed him and dressed him like they did with the fathers? So that's what it says, the word for word translation. So they used to, if there's a wedding, the father usually will dress in a great garment and be perfumed. But there was another question that how did she do that to him? Like, did she undress him and dress him? He was too drunk, too almost unconscious to be able to do it himself. So she did so. It's very shameless, sister. She undressed her dad and then she dressed him herself and then put perfume on him. Like he must have been so out of it. So that's the answer.
So in pre-Islam, or let's say in 7th century, where Muhammad steps into the Islamic tradition, if there is a wedding, there are special dress people are wearing, and in this occasion, you've got dress that people recognize you as the father of the bride, and then bride has the different dress as well. So, are you telling me Khadija, who is 14, not married, simply drunk, puts his father to make his father drink, and then take his clothes off
Mm-hmm.
at the wedding, at the kind of celebration, and then puts him new clothes on?
Yes, because look, when he woke up from the drunkenness, he said he found himself wearing this new garment
This,
and with perfume. He said, what is this?
yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Those of you who are engaging with Muslims, I am sure you heard how Muslims are kind of very much disturbed. Story of Lot.
We know,
How like
sister,
he
that
got drunk and then all those kind of things. So this is like very, very, very similar what's happening there.
well, Lot didn't say that he was the best of creation and that everyone should follow his example, sister.
Yeah. So no, I'm just like putting like as Muslims are objecting Christian faith from the prophets. In here, not from the prophets. I'm not sure if we can say Lot is prophet. He's not a prophet. In here, you get to hear the like same. You get to hear like similar story. Like you've got drunken person being naked by his own daughter, and then he wakes up and then he finds up actually he already dressed by his own daughter because he was so drunk he didn't even remember what happened.
And he was like, no, no, not on my life. I don't want to do this. And she blackmailing him. She said, hey, you said yes in front of Quraysh. What, you want to go back on your word? You want to say that you were drunk when you said it? It's a shame. It's like,
Then also like as you expressed how life of woman was different, compare the same attitude from the time of soon after Khadija's death. If woman had the same attitude
wow.
or same power.
And sister, we know that Khadija is creepy because she uses this nakedness a lot. Like with the first revelation, when Muhammad didn't know if Jibril was a demon or not, she also used this nakedness trick to tell the difference.
Seems there is some power there, sister. She figured out there is a power. Remember, like she takes out her robe and then touches Muhammad's skin, and then it says like their skin is touching. Tell me,
Mm.
is angel here? This angel, poor angel, like even like angel were created before humans. They never seen naked man, okay, in their life, or naked woman. Suddenly, angel becomes shy and then leaves. Just beautiful, just beautiful. So she's got, well, it seems she learned from early years of the engagement.
So someone asks, so she deceived her dad to get her to say yes, to get him to
Yep,
say yes to the beautiful prophet? Yes.
yep, yeah. She was loving Muhammad that much, and she thought, yeah, it's okay to deceive my father so that I marry Muhammad.
Remember, this is the first mother of the believers to Muslims. So she is still considered mother of believers.
Yeah.
So yes, she's the worst daughter ever, sister. She poisons her dad with alcohol, almost unconscious. She strips him naked. She redresses him. She makes him say stuff that he regrets later, and then she says, she blackmails him. You've already said it now, can't go back.
Um, Sister, why don't you comment on this for a bit and then pick up a couple of more comments, maybe.
Yes, there are some comments here. Marian says, after the judgment day, they barely escaped. The daughters of Lot were convinced their father was the last man alive. Both of them lost their husbands in the brimstone storm. Yeah, I mean, the Bible is a very honest book. It tells you what happened. It doesn't say anywhere in the Bible that God was happy with this. And it doesn't say anywhere in the Bible that we follow Lot and his example and his conduct as a pattern for us. We follow the Lord Jesus Christ. So Lot had his faults. His daughters had their faults. Abraham had his faults. All the great people of the Bible, all of them had their faults because they're humans and they're sinful, except one was the Lord Jesus Christ, who has no faults because he is the Son of God, God in the flesh. Muslims think that they can bring those stories to say, you have problems like we have problems. No, all human beings have a problem called sin, including those great people in the Bible, and they all need the Lord Jesus Christ to save them from that sin. Uh,
Yes.
so that's the difference. We've got a Muslim saying, before Islam, they used to bury the little baby girls alive,
Well, what Islam did.
as opposed to after Islam when they let them live and then marry them when they're 6. Which one's better?
Islam stepped in and then said, well, who buries their daughter? Mother and daughter both will go to hell.
Oh,
So,
yes.
what did Islam make it any better? No, not at
No,
all.
not
If
really.
is sake of the argument, if Islam give them life, what he did, put them in prison. Their life end up in prison. But like Islamic tradition says, if woman who puts the who buries her daughter, mother and the daughter, they will both go to hell. So I don't think that's like any good at all. Just like such a stupid argument someone is using. I'm not sure why would you use such an argument when you just heard that Khadija simply deceived her father and Muhammad didn't even step in this occasion and I said, well, if your father doesn't want me to marry you, let me have a debates or discussions with your father and then see what is the reason. Everyone trusts me. I'm sure your father will love me. Don't deceive your father. Why doesn't he do that? Where is he?
Yeah, if he was noble, he would have said, no, I don't
Yeah,
want my marriage to start with deception.
yeah. Marriage
Uh,
starts with deception, finishes with deception.
like he's meant to be the best of creation. So he's happy for his wife to be, to make her own dad drunk and make a fool of him, and then get deception to just do what he wants. That's terrible. Where is the nobleness? So he basically took this woman from her dad's house because he deceived him.
Yeah, like
And she's worth
noble man would say like, don't do that. I don't want to start a relationship with deception. I want your father's blessing. I will work to get that. I will do, I don't know, I will be nice to him, like you do certain things so that like you make that person to love you or something. He doesn't even like step in that occasion. He just like, well, we are getting married. How my wife is my future wife is gonna deceive her father first, make her drunk, and then deceive him, and then we will marry. Everything will be fine.
Well, sister, if I was him, and if he was noble, I wouldn't marry someone who would so happily deceive their dad. What if she was then next day she'll deceive me?
Yeah.
That's a
How can
horrible type.
how can you trust someone like this?
And remember, this person who's untrustworthy, who's a deceiver, like her husband, Khadija, she's the one who says that this is revelation is from Jibril. It's the same judgment. The person. So I'm thinking she deceived then too, the whole ummah. That's what I'm thinking. So you can see, like birds of a feather flock together. She's a deceiver. She married Muhammad the deceiver, who deceived people into thinking later that he was a prophet.
Just no good. Okay. Shall we move to the next one? This is like
Yes.
good love story. Good drunken story. Let's move to the next slide.
Not the story you want to tell your children how we got together.
Why not?
Oh, remember that our wedding day when you got your dad drunk? So we'll say yes.
It's like, well, your grandfather didn't want us to get married. What we did is, we did something very good because we want you to come. We want you to, we really, really want you to be exist. What did we do?
We deceived everyone.
We deceived not everyone, but also your grandfather.
Sister, this is another source that talks about it. So many sources that talk about it, sister.
Yeah, let's laugh together. It's good to laugh.
So, okay. This one is from Sermons and Lessons of Abdul Rahim al-Tahan, Volume 4, page 147, the online version. It was confirmed in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad and Mu'jam al-Tabarani al-Kabir and the Hadith in Majma' al-Zawaid, and the tradition was narrated by Imam al-Bayhaqi in Dalail al-Nubuwah, summarized in the second volume, page 73, from Ibn Abbas. So you see all these, at least 3 or 4 sources, sister, of hadith, of sahih narrations. The Prophet mentioned Khadija, which meaning in a proposal, wanting to be partnered to her and marry her. And her father declined him, meaning he did not want to marry him to her. And the reason for that was material only, as he, the Prophet, was poor, and she, her father and family, were very rich. He refused to marry him to her. So, our mother Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her, made food and drink, as was aforementioned in the first narration, which was the narration of Jabir ibn Sumrah. May Allah be pleased with them all. So she invited her father and groups of people and groups from Quraysh. So they ate and drank until they were drunk and lost their minds from their heads. They ate and drank until they were drunk. So our mother, Khadija, said to her father, and he, as we said, had eaten from the meat and drank until he was drunk, Muhammad proposes to me, so marry me to him. So he married her to him while he was drunk. So she perfumed him, meaning she brought perfume and applied it to him, and it was a type of perfume made from saffron. Its color is red or yellow and leaves a mark on the skin. What do you think, sister?
Well, first of all, father doesn't want her daughter to marry with poor guy, even though this guy is trustworthy. That makes sense. And then the woman, rich woman, wants to marry this poor guy. What she's gonna do? Because she's rich, she's got authority and power. Make everyone drink, everyone drunk, everyone eats, and then now he's so drunk. Yep, my father is gonna make me to marry, A marriage starts with a deception.
Did you notice, sister, here the person explaining, saying they were drunk and lost their minds?
I know
They
that.
were so drunk. Sister, I don't know about you, but if I was a bride, I don't want everybody at my wedding to be drunk, like too much of a drunk crowd. You want them to be in their, like, to remember this great occasion.
Sister, beloved, can you be kind enough and then just read the individuals? Let me first move to the previous PowerPoint. Can you just kind of be kind enough and then point out for us where hadith story is identified as Sahih?
Yeah, I'll read it in the Arabic. Ar-Rawi, the narrator, is Abdullah ibn Abbas, Muhammad's cousin. The transmitting narrator al-Muhaddith is al-Haythami. The source is Majma' al-Zawaid, which is a very famous book of hadiths, volume 9, page 223. And the ruling, the summary of the transmitter's ruling, so they made a judgment on the ruling, they said Sahih, because the men who transmitted and narrated them are men who usually transmit Sahih hadiths. And it wasn't even the only source we found. We found many other
Yeah.
Sahih sources as well.
So it is written by Muslims in the intention of bringing advantage to Islam, and it
Right.
is identified as Sahih.
Yes.
Okay. Let's turn to the other one, and then would you mind be kind enough and then read for us this as well? So because it seems there are some Mr. Muslims wants to just simply put their Islamic tradition in the garbage or somewhere.
Okay, so I'll read in the Arabic. It says ثبت في مسند الإمام أحمد. It was confirmed. Confirmed means confirmed as true. In the Musnad of Imam Ahmad. So Imam Ahmad is Ahmad ibn Hanbal. You know the Hanbalis, the sect of Muslims. He's the Imam of that sect. In the Musnad, the word Musnad is similar to the word Isnad. He narrates things with their full Isnads. So that story was in his Musnad. Also in Ma'jam al-Tabarani al-Kabir, another book. In Majma' al-Zawaid, like we mentioned from the previous slide. And in al-Bayhaqi, in his great book, Dalail al-Nubuwwah. Dalail al-Nubuwwah means the signs of prophethood. He has a very famous book by al-Bayhaqi, who is also very famous. And it all narrated from Ibn Abbas, who is the cousin of Muhammad.
And also we will show the similar story from Tabari as well. So Mr. Muslims are writing for rest of the Muslims and also rest of the world. It's just heart crushing. I am emotionally harmed that you are simply calling your hadith garbage. But who cares about my emotional harm? But nothing is going to change. So they are already identified as reliable.
So Muslims write things, and then we read them, and then other Muslims
Call
don't
some
believe
garbage.
their fellow Muslims, and then blame us.
I know, like, how is this like our fault? All we are doing is just like reading.
And if this was a lovely story about how honest Muhammad is or how great he is, there would be no objections. It's only because they're embarrassed.
And early Muslims were not ashamed of to tell humanity their marriage started with deception, and Muhammad simply turned blind eye to that. But 21st century Muslims has better moral standards, therefore they are ashamed of their tradition. Therefore they think, yeah, they can simply call their tradition and all those scholars garbage. No good, no good.
Well, they still follow the scholar. Imam Ahmad is Ahmad ibn Hanbal. One of the four schools of Sunni Islam is the Hanbalis. They
Well,
all follow him.
he might say I'm Hanafi. You never know. They change system. Depend what you provide. It is like they change quite quickly.
Okay.
You can be kind enough and then just show us people who are rejecting this, and then we can do which scholar is better than which scholar. How do you know? And then we can simply question the reliability of oral tradition. So those are very simple, practical steps you can do, Mr. Muslim. Be kind enough and do that.
Yeah, for people who say it's daif, you need to show us evidence of which scholar says this story is daif, please.
And why, like every time when they are ashamed of something their prophet did, they start like saying, "Oh, this is daif. Oh, this is not sahih. This is garbage." Like
Because they can't believe,
calling your tradition with all those names, seriously doesn't look good at all. And
because
I'm
they
not
can't
that
quite,
much like how things looks, but in this occasion, it doesn't make Islam look good at all.
because they can't quite believe that Muhammad's wedding was full of drunk people. and he got married by deception. But that's what happened, isn't it? Otherwise, why did it end up in all these books?
Yeah. Why
Not
would
just one
someone
book.
provide such informations? And why would you question the character of your prophet who simply turned blind eye knowing his future wife is using deception for their marriage?
And I had just a note from my brother saying that this someone called Muhammad Hassan, very famous Salafi in Egypt, said this story is Sahih. Muhammad
Well,
Hassan.
I'm sure our Mr. Muslim is also scholar from garbage school or something, University of Garbage or something. Therefore, he can simply say he doesn't trust them.
Well, if you don't trust them, then you have nobody to transmit the Quran to you because all these people
Are
transmit the
those
hadiths.
similar people? Yeah.
Yeah, same ones. And sister, we're talking Muhammad's cousin. He's in the family. He's telling us the story. Ibn Abbas.
Well, if you don't like it, what you do, you leave it. So that's what like we are only in the second story, and they are already ashamed of it. Just this is the second like slide. Can you imagine? You put your eternity on this man who turned blind eye when he saw deception, and he was quite okay. Therefore, we get to see in his life it is something he practices, and he practices.
And you got also, sister, people who are publishing books today, as we will see in the next slide, and they include this story in a book called Sahih as-Sira al-Nabawi. The what is Sahih from the Sira.
Yeah, just before we move on that one, also wanted to point out, think about it. If Muslims are today, 21st century Muslims who live in the western part of the world, calling such stories as garbage, yet those stories are already all around circulating. I wonder why they didn't kind of practice banning those things and then they are still here. Like, what have you done to make a point? Actually, those stories are garbage. They shouldn't be in your tradition.
And if a story has been repeated so much, what were there some great Muslim scholars just making up bad stories about Muhammad? They loved him. So I'm thinking this happened.
Muslim things didn't happen because it's bad things, sister, if it happened.
Well, it wasn't a Christian or a Jew who made it up and put it in our books.
You never know. They might say this. They might pick up those names and then they might say, oh, that guy was a Jew paid by Jews.
His name is Al-Bayhaqi, Muslim. I've never seen a Jew named Ahmad. There's Imam Ahmad.
Or Imam Muhammad or something.
I've never seen a Jew called Ibn Abbas.
Well, we live in New Century, sister.
That must mean that so many, that if it's da'if or if it didn't happen, that must mean that so many Muslims all got together and decided to all say yes to that story and put it all in their books
Tradition,
at
yeah.
different times of history.
Yeah. And then Muslims turns up to the Christian live streams and then calls their tradition garbage. Just go and speak to them. Ask this website to take those things down if you think they are garbage, if you can make your case. Seems early Muslims are very proud of following a prophet who started everything with full of deception. And by the way, by that time, remember, he is known as trustworthy, but he is quite okay to be part of the deception. What kind of even like understanding of trustworthy in Islam is very different. So someone can be trustworthy who is deceiving people, who is coming along with like other false doing.
They can't take it out of their books, sister, because you got all these different scholars who put that same story in different times in history. They'd have to go back to all of this centuries back on all these points in history and erase it. Can't.
No good.
They'll have to go back to Khadija and tell her, don't give your dad wine. That's
Yeah.
the only way you can stop it. Don't deceive him.
If Muhammad was trustworthy, and man of God, he would simply say to Khadija, we don't need to start relationship in this way. I know you are a rich woman. I really want your money. But we can't start relationship like this. Give me time. I will work for your father. He will get to know me. He will trust me. We get to see people in the Old Testament. They work for their father-in-laws, and then they are being loved. They are being respected. Even in some occasions, father-in-law is deceiving them.
Yeah, Jacob.
Yeah. And in here, what we have is like there is nothing like it says like, oh, Muhammad wanted to worked very hard to get the trust of his father-in-law. Muhammad simply comes alongside and then says, okay, Khadija, I really need that money, Khadija. Even like that's your money. And probably you will inherit some as well, because when Islam comes, inheritance is going to change. I'll take your money. We marry. You will die very soon. I'll take your money and everything will be fine. I think it's a very good plan. Like someone who is just going to live like next 10, 15 years. It's something actually just coming to my mind, sadly. Someone who's going to live next 10, 15 years, you just marry them for money. That's what Muhammad did.
I know what you're thinking, sister.
I know,
But
I know what I'm thinking. It's very
what
bad.
that's exactly what happened, and it's a good plan. Well, look how desperate Khadija is for him. She's meant to be rich and noble, and everybody wants her, but she's like, I really want this orphan with no money. Why is she so desperate to marry him?
Yeah.
So much so that she deceives her own dad.
Well, overall, like, money is not important in this occasion, but like the point is the deception which involves. That's problem. And other problem is man of God who is chosen by Allah, his heart being washed when he was child, all those kind of things, doesn't see that deception as a problem. Thinks that deception is something good. It's not only woman's fault here. It's like man and woman both has faults in here.
They're both just as bad as each other. I always thought.
That's why they got married.
You got one who's a gold digger and the other one who's a deceiver.
Now, I think it will. I don't know why you thought it wouldn't make good movie. It will make good movie, sister.
That's horrible, Hattie. That's not exactly the romantic ending that everybody wants.
No, ending is romantic. She dies, he gets the money.
And notice, sister, more the Muslims saying, "Oh, he didn't have lots of wives because he knew she is the money. If
Yeah,
he had lots of wives with her, she would have kicked him out to the street.
yeah.
After she died, then
She
she
had the
had the money.
power. Yeah.
Then she had the power.
It
He
took
had the
only a
power.
couple of days for him to find the second wife. Just couple of days. He didn't like even mourn for his wives for years. Like they spent life together for a long time. And then just a couple of days you moved on from one relationship. Like just
Actually, sister, he had two. A lady came to him and said, "Which one do you want, a virgin or a matron?" He said, "Give me both." The virgin was Aisha and the matron was Sauda. Married them both together at the same time. What kind of mourning man is that? Lost his wife, just went two at once, and then he went crazy with on a marriage frenzy. Married at least 13 women at one point. Lots of concubines and sex slaves.
so
Great example to humanity.
one of the names of Allah is he's a deceiver. He even deceives Muhammad, his beloved prophet. And then what we get to see is like as Muhammad in here turning blind eye when he sees deception. And even in his lifetime, like we get to see how Muhammad practiced lots of deception too. And his wife, before their marriage starts, deception is there.
Yes. And Phil Hooray is saying there's a passage in the Quran, hilarious, Surah 24, verse 26. Bad women are for bad men, and bad men are for bad women.
Yeah, so like let me just pull that. Who did you say comment was from? Phil? Yeah,
Well,
got
yeah.
it. I got it. Bad women are for bad men and bad men for bad women. So are, are you just saying like they find one another?
Perfect
Do
match
you
made
think
in
like
heaven.
too bad makes like good or too bad makes worse?
Too bad makes bad squared. Match made in hell. Match made in hell.
Much made in wine.
Farhana says you make Islam look bad, so you deserve to get arrested. Well,
Like how we are making Islam look bad. I didn't write this. It was like your Muslim scholars who wrote it. They're proud of it. Why are you thinking this makes Islam look bad? I think it makes Islam very, very romantic religion. Therefore, lots of people just like, yep, let's find those rich women so we marry.
Islam makes Islam look bad. But if we're making it look bad, can you please tell us how this looks good from your perspective?
Yeah.
How can this be look good? Anyway, so yet another book, sister. We found this nice story in
Yeah, even like name of this book is funny by itself. The book
Kitab
of the
Sahih,
authentic,
the
authentic
book of the
sir.
authentic. كتاب صحيح السيرة النبوية, the book of the authentic seerah. It's like telling Muslims, this is authentic. By Ibrahim al-Ali. Okay, in the online version we found is in volume 1, page 45. From the hadith of Ibn Abbas, it says, the messenger mentioned Khadija and her father did not want to marry him to her. So she made him food and drink and invited her father and people from Quraysh. So they ate and drank until they were drunk. So Khadija said, Muhammad ibn Abdullah is proposing to me, so marry me to him. So her father married her to him. So she perfumed her father and clothed him with a garment, as they used to do with fathers. So when his drunkenness left him, he looked and found himself perfumed and clothed in a garment. So he said, what is with me? What is this? She said, you married me to Muhammad ibn Abdullah. So he said, I married you to the orphan of Abi Talib? No, not on my life. Khadija said, are you not ashamed? You want to make a fool of yourself before Quraysh to tell people that you were drunk? So she persisted with him until he agreed. And this was supported by what came from the hadith of Jabir ibn Sumra as well. And the footnotes here mention all the sources that we've mentioned before as well. It's also in that book.
Okay, let me just highlight this part so that like if anyone has like their eyes are not very good, their eyesights are not very good, so they're identified like all Sahih.
All Sahih here. You got Ahmad ibn Hanbal in his Musnad, you got Al-Bayhaqi, you got Al-Tabarani, you got Al-Haythami. And in Ahmad and Al-Tabarani, they mentioned that it's a Sahih,
Okay,
narrated by Sahih, authentic men.
so we don't call them garbage. We've got like a lot of respect for these stories.
A
We don't.
lot
We
of
Yeah, we don't call them garbage, even though we disagree. Okay, it is very very similar story.
Yeah, it's basically the same story, sister, by all these men narrated. And remember, because this was a public event, she had all the men of Quraysh and
You
she had her dad, and it's
you are
public.
you
So
are telling me they had eyewitnesses to those deceptions too?
sister, look, that's the reason her dad couldn't say no after, because she said,
You've
you
got all
already
those.
said it
Yeah,
to these people.
yeah.
This wasn't a secret event. It wasn't a secret event like she was with Muhammad and took her clothes off in front of the angel. It wasn't that kind. It was had eyewitness.
And can you point out for me where is Muhammad is saying, Khadija, don't do that.
He didn't say a word, sister. He just left it all to her. Yeah, why is he not helping her?
Yeah,
There was nothing there. Like he didn't even say, "Excuse me, sir, I want your daughter." And no, none of that. It was like she did it all herself.
this doesn't look good to me. So you mentioned the names for us, like everyone can see in the part where it says footnotes. Those are the references, okay? When Mr. Muslim calls them garbage, this is the place you go. Their Muslim scholars doesn't call this garbage. They think like, yep, this is something we are proud. We are proud that first mother of the believers. Do they call Khadija mother of believers?
Yes, they do.
They do?
Yes.
I never heard that one. So, first mother of the believers, they are not ashamed that she's a deceiver.
If you go to the previous slide, sister, in the book that we mentioned, it does say our mother Khadija.
Oh, sorry. I never
Yeah,
heard. I never heard from Muslims like that.
you see the second paragraph here? That's what it says in this book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got
Uh,
it. Sorry.
yeah, she is, of
Well,
course.
yeah. Look, we are learning lots of things every day. No, in the conversations, like it never came as like Khadija is the mother of the believers.
Well, the verse says, all his wives are your mothers. And,
Pre-Islam,
yeah,
pre-deception, after deception.
but remember, Khadija was one of the first believers in him, in Muhammad.
Yeah, but because I like because she came from the time of Jahiliyyah stuff. Like I never heard like they called when they say Khadija, mother of I never heard anyone say it like mother of the believers. But as I said, I'm learning lots of new things every day, so that's good.
Yeah, Surah 33, verse 6. And his wives are their mothers.
Yeah. So
So she was the
early Muslims said no problem. Mother of the believers is the deceiver. They had
yeah.
no problem.
Well, they have no problem that their God is a deceiver.
Yeah, they had no problem. Them themselves is deceiver.
And she deceived to marry. It's like so low. Yeah, Laul Guna says first woman to believe. Correct. Khadija is the first woman to believe. Yeah,
Yeah,
mainly because
when she took off her clothes, like she was so convinced that Muhammad was the prophet.
I don't know why she was so desperate to marry this poor guy who doesn't look to be very noble, has no good character. I don't understand.
It's called love, sister.
I don't know about that. I don't know what kind of love makes you do questionable bad things.
Well, from human perspective, we question such a things, but when we look from the bigger picture, like from the Christian mindset, we get to see very similar picture, like creator of universe, king of all, out of love for love creates the world, and logic of cosmos, this king steps in, and then while we are like poor and needy and desperate, and we are not even giving any attention to him, he wants us. So from biblical perspective, we see this is like great marriage. We see this as great love. Out of love, he gives himself so that people turn to him, like we are identified as his bride. From Islamic perspective, because Islam like just destroys everything, it's all like very, very creepy. Very creepy. In a bad way, it's creepy.
She's just a creepy person who fell in love with another creepy person. That's it.
That's where Phil's comments come in again, like Batman marries
Yeah,
Batman
that's
marries
actually,
Batwoman.
yeah. He was talking about himself in that verse.
um, hmm, like you give me money, I'll marry you. Yeah, just something
Yeah,
is just coming to my mind as I'm talking about this, and it's just not good.
it still happens to this day, sister.
Yeah, it still happens.
It's usually women. It's usually women who go after men for money. But here, Khadija is the one who's Muhammad is the gold digger. He's the one who's poor. I don't know what she wanted from him. Like she could have had her pick of anyone. 40 is not that old. Or maybe it was in their day. I don't know.
Come on, sister, we are talking about in 7th century. In 7th century, 9 years old.
Mm.
Muhammad was probably like 80s, age 25 in 7th century.
Maybe because maybe if he was so tired of like having someone older than him, that much older, he thought as soon as she dies, she goes, he went really young. He went for 9. Still creepy.
Maybe he planned she will die and then all will be fine. Okay. Let me just change this. Beloved, anything needs our attention in the chat.
I didn't really see any answer for Muslims apart from that one that you said about the week. But it's not weak as we've seen. It's authentic and mentioned in so many books, so many books, and books that mention other books as their sources too.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was gonna plug out Tabari for us. So we've got Tabari. He used to be, now these days they don't like him because he talks about how word of Allah, some part of the word of Allah is better than other part of the word of Allah. So he's not good guy now, but he used to be very good until before that. In Tabari, this is volume 6, where you kind of read the Muhammad's life starts and ministry starts. We've got a similar story.
Khadija sent a message to the messenger of God inviting him to take her. Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
how brave this woman is. Like, what is the in Britain, they have this, not in Ireland, I think they have the tradition, or there's a saying, they have a tradition that when the February is like 29
Mm,
days,
mm.
woman kind of proposes man.
Oh, leap year, yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is like in those days, like even like in Britain, that's not very common. So in 7th century, woman is like inviting him. Woman is asking him to marry her. Like that's like,
No, not only that, she's asking him to come over.
I wanted to put that nicely, sister. You are just being so Mohammed phobia.
I mean, look how they're writing it. After that, then they write she was a highly respected woman. What kind of highly respected woman sends a message to a guy? Remember that she's not married to him yet. She sends a message to him saying, "Come over and take me." Look,
In
then
7th century, they didn't have those moral standards, sister.
what?
Both of them are non-believers. That's what Muslim will say. None of them were Muslim.
Yeah, but Muslims say that even when they were not Muslim before the revelation came, they were still the most noble in the Quraysh and the most noble of the. What kind of noble woman does that?
That was until this story, sister. This story changes things.
Did you see Al-Waqidi wrote it? She sent a message to him to come to him to say, "Come take me," and then he wrote, meaning that they should marry. That's his own polite words, but that's not what she said to him.
She was saying, I'll keep the window open,
No, she
or
probably said,
come
"I leave
from
the
the
door."
garden, or come when everyone goes to bed or something. Just like,
She probably said, "I'll leave the door open and everybody will be drunk because I'll be, preparing the drinking."
yeah, just anyway. Um,
Anyway,
okay, yeah, let's continue, sister.
so she was a highly respected woman, and the whole of Quraysh would have been eager to marry her and would have spent much money to that end had they aspired to. She called her father to her house, plied him with wine until he was drunk, slaughtered a cow, anointed him with perfume, and clothed him in a striped robe. Then she sent for the messenger of God and his uncles, and when they came in, her father married him to her. When her father recovered from his intoxication, he said, "What is this meat, this perfume, and this garment?" She replied, "You have married me to Muhammad ibn Abdullah." "I have not done so," he said. "Would I do this when the greatest men of Mecca have asked for you and I have not agreed?" He didn't remember, sister. He was so drunk and intoxicated, he didn't remember.
I used to do street pastoring, so that's like at night when you go and do evangelism outside of nightclubs. And so when people are getting into the nightclub, everyone is like so friendly. You have these long chats. And then when they get out of the club, they are just so drunk, okay? Like they're just throwing up and they so drunk, they don't even remember who you are, okay? And then next day or day after, they just like call you to say like, I don't know who you are. I just find this card in my pocket. So
Wow.
this is like one of those moments, okay? Father wakes up. He doesn't remember what happened. In that, like, if you think about woman is changing man clothes, it wouldn't be like when you change, if mother is changing the child's PJs or something because child is sleeping, mother would be very gentle because like she has power to do so. But in this occasion, father is probably like, oh, like not probably, father is old. Khadija is already old. So it wouldn't be like that, let me change this gently so that he doesn't wake up. He's so drunk, he can't even wake up. Khadija is powerful enough to change his clothes. And then he wakes up in the morning with like this, not even in the morning, he wakes up with this like, oh, there is food, oh, there is perfume, oh, there is garment. Oh, what happened? Daddy, we got married, remember? You were giving us your blessings.
Wow. And he's like, no, no. He didn't want Muhammad to be his son-in-law. If he was like, people say Muhammad was the most loved, everybody wanted him, he was so noble, he had great manners, he had great character. This guy didn't want him
Yeah,
for a son-in-law.
he
He's
doesn't
like,
say
oh,
like, he doesn't say everyone says he's trustworthy or anything. He just like, nope.
he was like the greatest man of Mecca. He didn't even agree with them, and he gave her to this orphan who doesn't have anything.
And as people are gonna kind of disagree with the story, where do we go to? We go to Tabari. Mr. Tabari put it for us. Tells this is what people were talking.
You got
Greatest commentary.
Dawa gang with Mimi Hijab. When they say Tabari, they say it like Tabari. They say it in this voice, Tabari. Like great. And what this is the great Tabari.
Yeah, that great Tabari is telling us no good things.
Look how he wrote it. She called her dad to her house, plied him with wine until he was drunk. Such a great daughter she was.
Yeah. And
And then
then when
nothing.
she died, Mohammed took all of her money. And then within a couple of days, went and find someone else to marry. Someone else's, like lots of someone's.
Plenty of replacements.
Yeah. Yeah.
Andrew Martin says, the greatest man of Mecca, I have asked for you. So he says, so Muhammad was low class because yeah.
Well, above all, guard your heart. Above all, guard your heart. Okay. Does anything or anyone needs our attention in the chat?
Someone's asking if I have a voice synthesizer. I don't know what that is.
What is the question? Say it again. Someone is
If I have
asking what?
if I have a voice synthesizer, I don't know what that is. No, I don't because I don't know what that is.
If you don't know what that is, how do you know you don't have it?
I
Let's
know I don't have
Google
it because
that.
it
Let's Google that. Check
is. A voice
Google.
synthesizer. Okay. Someone's saying, I hope for such a romantic love story one day.
No,
No, you don't.
we cannot start relationships with deception. We are Christians. We are told to be truthful. There is no deception in our God. So, just we start from the different mindset.
You don't want your own dad to remember your own wedding?
Yes, you don't have that voice thing, sister. You are
Yeah,
correct.
what is it?
It is just to make your voice like better.
Mm, no, I don't need any. I don't need any. I'm very low tech person. I don't know much about technology.
Says who?
Yeah. Uh, no, people saying it's a thing that makes your voice sound different through the mic, makes it sound tuned, unaltered.
Yeah, so you don't have that.
People are
You
so
were
naughty,
correct.
honestly.
You don't have that.
People are naughty. Anyway, I'd rather people focus on what we say rather than the voice that says it. Uh, okay. I guess to hide what my voice sounds like so I'm not recognizable, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Bit too late for that. Ship has sailed. Go on, sister, sorry.
I was gonna ask, would you be kind enough to just like summarize for us and then bring us very basic questions that we are asking tonight in this love story, and also
Yeah,
what
so
are the things we shouldn't be doing?
yeah, so I expected a love story, sister, just from like any wedding story, and all I found was this deception and trickery and drunkenness and debauchery. And of course, I'm not surprised because it's Muhammad's love. Well, there's no love in it. All it is some 40-year-old lady with lots of money found a 25-year-old orphan who wanted money. Her dad wouldn't have said yes because other greater men were after her. So she tricked everybody with alcohol until her dad said yes in front of people, was too embarrassed to take it back because he was drunk. That's basically it. And we find this great story in lots and lots of sources. We've got Majma Zawaid, narrated from Abdullah ibn Abbas, Muhammad's cousin, transmitted by Al-Haythami. We've got Ahmad ibn Hanbal's Musnad. We've got Al-Bayhaqi's Dalail al-Nubuwah, Tabarani's Al-Kabir, and many of them are saying the people who narrated this story are men of authentic narrations and hadiths. This is what happened, Muslims. And what we ask the question is, apparently Muhammad has been known to be trustworthy and true from before even being a prophet. What kind of trustworthy and true man allows his wife, the first day of their marriage based on deception, takes a woman from her dad by deception, knowing full well that her dad didn't want to, refused him? Second, what kind of woman is it, the first mother of the believers, the first woman who believed in Muhammad to have that kind of character? Three, did you know even that this story existed? Probably not, because no imam is going to say it for you on a Friday khutbah ever, because they are embarrassed by it. They're embarrassed to tell you what Muhammad was really like, what his life was really like, what his wedding, what his marriage was really like, what his wives were really like. They were all a bunch of pagan, immoral people. They were not noble at any point in their lives. So please stop following this man. He is not a mercy to mankind. He's not an example to be followed. He is an example to not be followed. He's somebody to be embarrassed of, to be left in the 7th century where he belongs. And if you have morals, if you have any kind of noble character, you would not follow this. Any simple person would be better than this. So please leave him. Come to the Lord Jesus Christ, who is the truth, the trustworthy and true. He is, sister, our groom. The bride is his church, and he sacrificed himself for us. Everything he told us was the truth. There was no deception there was no deceit found in his mouth. That is the one you want. That's all I want to say, sister.
Man, thank you, sister. So that was their love story. Started with deception. Their marriage started with deception. And then their God, who is identified as the best of deceivers, their prophet who deceived people. simply just set the example from the start. Beloved, thank you very much for unpacking that for us, and also translating them for us as well.
With pleasure, sister.
And thank you very much, everyone who joined us tonight. Do I have live stream tomorrow?
Sister, you have a live stream coming with Brother David Wood. I hope you haven't forgotten.
No, I haven't forgotten. That's tomorrow, early morning, or tonight. I need to
Oh,
check
you have
it.
forgotten.
Tonight or tomorrow. That's in the diary.
Yes, I'm very excited about that, sister.
Okay, seems I don't have live stream tomorrow. But I have tomorrow night. Anyway, we don't have live stream tomorrow night. Sorry. Because I'm not around. Okay, sorry, got it. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone who joined us tonight. And then, as well as Dot of Christ, thank you very much for translating them for us and then helping us to think through not start a marriage with deception, not follow the examples of Muhammad at all. And thank you very much for my moderators, and thank you very much, everyone, for being with us tonight. We will see you by God's grace on another live stream, or at Speaker's Corner, or at the bosom of the Father, wherever is the first place we will see you. Until we see you, may Christ crucified silence you with his love. God bless you all.